I'm sitting in front of a showcase of Charlotte Weibull dolls, and in the Swedish language, when you see W, you say the, just so you understand how it works. It's not Charlotte Weibull, it's Charlotte Weibull. And she started making dolls, probably in the 1950s. They're cloth, they're handmade, and her job, her mission was to preserve all of the folk dress of the people, the folk costumes, because sometimes in a county there's one or two folk dress that tell you, anybody that looks at you, you're from Leksand in Dalarna, or you're from Mora in Dalarna, or you're from Verand in Småland. You can tell by the costume. They are considered national treasures, and you must be very, very careful that you represent them exactly perfectly. You make them from wool, linen, or leather. No rayon, no polyester, none of that. It has to be the natural fibers. They're considered national treasures. And when you went away from home to a market in the next town, everybody knew right away by looking at you, oh, she's from Leksand, she's from Verand, she's married because the sash is on the left side. If it was on the right side, she was available, not married. Sometimes the occupation of your family was noted by your dress. After the Industrial Revolution, people were much more mobile, and they started leaving the farms. So it became a challenge. Well, mother came from Småland, grandpa came from over here. What do I wear? So they invented the national folk dress, the blue and yellow dress with the daisies, to solve that issue. Charlotte wanted to preserve these fabulous designs and costumes, the folk dress of the people. So she started making dolls, and they had to be accurate. They always have a cloth face with painted face features. They have the correct little shoes. All the detailing is exquisite. And she had a small farmstead near Lund. And sometimes she showed their location. Now that's the couple, they're wearing their clothes that they would wear cutting hay. And so she's not wearing her fancy costume, she's wearing her haying costume, which was simply a linen dress that was cool and it could be washed if it got dirty, whereas these were much more elaborate. They often have silver buttons or buckles on the shoes, and again, it was a sign of wealth or inherited wealth. These were my grandma's buckles, my grandma's buttons, whatever. Ultimately, Charlotte Weibull was named a national treasure herself by the king because she had done so much to preserve this distinctive part of the Swedish culture. And two of the women who have been longtime fairy godmothers to the museum collected the dolls. And so our collection is about 150 of these dolls. It's also not just, forget the men, they too have folk dress. There's not quite as much variation, but they also have folk dress. And it usually involves chamois leather pants, the yellow pants. Sometimes they're black wool, but very frequently it was the leather. And a hat of some sort, and then a vest. And sometimes there's embroidery on the vest, sometimes there's woven braiding on the vest, but again, it's distinctive to where they come from, and everybody can recognize it. So you could read the audience if you're at a big fair. Oh, look at there, you came down from Leksand or whatever. They're very important in Sweden. You wear them on Christmas, Easter, sometimes to weddings and christenings. And of course on Swedish National Day, June 6th. June 6th is the day that Gustav Vasa declared, we are Sweden. Because for a couple of centuries they were back and forthing. The lower half of Sweden belonged to Denmark, it didn't, it did, there was warfare, it was not good. And he was a very opposing physically person. He also had an ego that was as big as Sweden. And he had had enough of this. And so he said, he hired German mercenaries to come in and settle the border wars and say, we are Sweden, we are united, and he made the proclamation on June 6th. So that became Swedish National Day. It didn't exactly end all the bickering back and forth with Denmark, but it was the first real time that they were the Swedish nation.